leave it to Joe Rogan to completely throw his friend under the bus. On the most recent episode of The Joe Rogan Experience with guest Bert Kreischer, Joe tries to defend Whitney Cummings, but all he does is prove he's a misogynistic bigot who hates women. But first, he has to call haters mentally ill, of course.
You know, the Whitney thing about Miss Rachel. I don't know who Miss Rachel is.
I found
still
out who
don't.
she is today.
She's an educator for neurodivergent kids. Is that what it is? Pull up some videos of Miss Rachel, because after people were dragged, by the way, the worst fucking people were going after her.
Really?
People that I know that are comedians that are just unbelievably shitty, dishonest, disingenuous human beings, bad faith communicators, people that just like completely distort anything about the person.
Yeah.
And it's just because she's successful. It's a giant part of it. And so they see her making some crack about Miss Rachel because she was watching it with her kid. She didn't know what the fuck it is. Doom scrolling on TikTok and Twitter all day and shitting on people like, fuck Whitney Cummings and Miss Rachel was They're just mentally ill slobs, all of them. And they're
Sorry, gotta take a detour, cause why the F does Joe do this annoying impersonation of haters all the time? It wouldn't be a Joe Rogan episode if he didn't first blame any valid criticism as hater. Energy from mentally ill people with a dash of bad impressions. To claim criticism as mentally ill is not only incredibly disrespectful to the people he's targeting, it's also disrespectful to people with mental illness. Implying only mentally ill people comment is outrageously false and just shows how he equates critique as mania. Connecting mental illness to behavior he says is crazed is a regressive, ignorant take. Every time he defends anyone, it's by trying to disparage the other side with the most lame, outdated tropes about appearance and mental health. Like he's the pillar of sanity with that deranged-looking impersonation, and when you have to resort to impersonating someone you've already lost. Joe Rogan constantly does this, where he thinks he's effectively mocking haters and commenters, but he is the only one who looks stupid. How has no one told him? He sounds like an effing tard, and it's pathetic that he feels the need to do an impersonation every time he brings up haters. As Joe would say, he can't help himself. Joe can't stop doing these done-to-death impersonations of a commenter who must live in their mom's basement and must be broke slobs. Right out of the Joe Rogan playbook, ignore reasonable criticism and blame it on haters are dumb. And to make it worse, he's hating on other comedians here even though he says not to do that. And I don't give an F, but he goes on and on about protecting comedians, and here he is shitting on them. He sounds a lot like a hater despite claiming not to be one. It's obvious he's feeling vulnerable, so he tries to disparage haters by diminishing their credibility. I don't understand why Joe doesn't get how annoying and cringe it is. He is not funny, and he's not good at impressions. Just rewatch his Trump. I also find it odd that he claims to not read comments, but yet he somehow saw these hundreds of comments by other comedians who were hating on Whitney Cummings. How do you know about that, Joe?
It's just because she's successful. It's a giant part of it. And so they see her making some crack about Miss Rachel because she was watching it with her kid. She didn't know what the fuck it is. So here's Miss Rachel. Let me hear what this sounds like.
The dinosaur eggs are hatching! Wow! How many dinosaurs do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, pause. Why would you go after this?
I love how you just went on and on about how wrong everyone was and defending Whitney only to fold right away. Acting like she's a fool for hating on this Miss Rachel character, to say, why would you hate on this? Directly insults his friend Whitney. It implies she must be crazy or weird for hating. And acting like he's shocked by Whitney commenting does not support your friend, and instead does the opposite. It makes her look wrong, like her behavior was out of line, only bringing further criticism to Whitney. Isn't he supposed to be the free speech warrior, always defending a comedian's right to jokes? And why does Joe look so offended and angry over jokes? He's supposed to be Whitney's friend, and yet he's directly implying that she must be an idiot or crazed for hating. And the judgmental look on his face really does her no favors. And I'm not saying Joe's wrong. I mean, Whitney Cummings is an absolute lunatic, and I'm sure she was hating on Miss Rachel for dumb reasons. Even though I refuse to look into it because I don't care. And I know I'm hating on Joe for conflating mental illness with commenting, but I will still conflate the two. Plus, Whitney is funny psycho and not in the mental health diagnosis kind of way.
Like, this is like a little kid show.
Yeah,
like, she must have been bored.
There's nothing different from this in Blue's Clues, in my opinion.
It's a show for little kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe she was just
bored.
She was trying to write a joke and thought she'd get some traction, I guess.
Maybe she took 2 instead of 1. And then she got a little extra energy. She took 2 instead of 1. I don't know what she's doing. All of a sudden, she's like, fuck Miss Rachel.
Don't you love when instead of defending his friend, Joe decides to judge her and imply she's on drugs? It must be crazy pilled up Whitney. Does he not know what friendship is? He does this all the time. Just like Brandon Schaub. He acts like he's all about his friends and lifting them up, but every time he gets the chance, he chooses to tear them down, implying disparaging things and insinuating they're unwell. He did the same thing with Theo Vaughn, where he nonstop discussed Theo's mental health on his podcast, pretending it's because he cares, when really it's a cheap way to try to knock them down and separate them from their fans. The only thing I can't figure out is if he's doing it on purpose or because he's that stupid, considering he once told Braden Schaub that he should quit the UFC live on his podcast. I don't think Joe is capable of nuance or empathy. Not a chance. And could he get more ignorant or blatantly against women? It's a tale as old as time to imply a woman's behavior is due to mental illness or drugs. Joe is the type of guy who insinuates a woman must be on her period, suffering from hysteria or into the booger sugar or pills when he doesn't understand her. And I think it's Joe's sneaky way of saying women aren't funny without saying it out loud. Yes, Whitney Cummings isn't funny, but that doesn't make Joe, right? Women can be funny. Joe just only knows Republican women and his wife. And yeah, I'm reading into it way too much. It helps me make fun of Joe. I mean, sometimes I think Joe cannot get more regressive, but then he proves me wrong. For centuries, men have labeled women as hysterical to discredit, silence, and control them. Any behavior or opinions that go against their worldview or societal norms was deemed crazy, and Joe just did the same thing. And why is it always the teeny tiny men who can't help but disparage women and attempt to always knock them down a peg? Something to do with lacking confidence makes them shit all over women every chance they get. Honestly, Joe has just become an out-of-touch boomer loser who is only able to make jokes. If they are chauvinistic and include toxic stereotypes, tell me you're unfunny without telling me you're unfunny. If you would like more commentary on empty-headed Joe Rogan, then subscribe to my channel.